Hello and welcome to this week's writing vlog. I'm Liselle Sambury. I am a traditionally published author, and today I am, this whole week I'm continuing to work on finishing up the second round of developmental edits for the sequel to my book Blood Like Magic, which will be coming out next year in the summer. Still don't know the exact timeline there. But yeah, this is the last round of developmental edits, and I'm going to be finishing this week. My deadline is technically not until the end of next week, but because I'm going to be going down to visit Toronto now that I am fully vaccinated, and have passed like the 2-week period as well. So yeah, or will have passed by the time this week is over. But yeah, so I wanted to finish before I went so that I could kind of like take it easy while I was down there and not be trying to reach a deadline or anything like that. So that is how things are going. And this week, if you've seen the title of this video, you already know I am trying something new. I am trying to do a 5-day work week. So if you didn't know, I am a full-time author. In March of 2020, I was laid off from my day job, and after struggling to try and get another day job, I actually ultimately ended up getting another book deal, so selling another 2 books, and the amount of it was enough that I realized I could write full-time and basically make the same amount of money net that I would have made from my day job. So I decided to purposely transition into writing full-time, and so now I do that. And I've been very loose with how I schedule my time and my working hours as a full-time author. I think when I first kind of ended up accidentally full-time writing, I like stuck with my work schedule because it was just like natural. So I would do like a sort of 9-to-5 type thing. But lately things have become, I find, very chaotic, and it's like difficult for me to get everything that I want done, and I find that I'm like really like tired and kind of burned out. So I figured I would try out doing a 5-day work week, because I know there are authors that will work from Monday to Friday and then they take weekends off, and that's like their weekly break. What I've been doing this whole time in my writing career is I have blocked out a period of time to work on a project, which is usually like 3 to 4 weeks or 2 to 4 weeks, and then I work on it every day continuously. Sometimes I'll get really tired and then I'll take a day off, and then I basically do things like that. And I set it up like that so that I would have less to work on each day, so that I could really spread things out. But I'm finding that like I just like end up feeling really tired and like kind of overwhelmed. So that's why I want to try out this 5-day work week thing. So doing Monday to Friday, 9 until I finish work, not necessarily 9 to 5, and taking like a lunch break in between. So that's what I started off. So today I woke up at 8:30 so that I was sitting at my computer for 9 o'clock, and it was actually fine. I was really tired right when the alarm went off, but then I started like doing my morning routine of scrolling through social media, and then by 8:45 I was awake, and then I just got up and did my normal routine, and then I was at my computer at 9. I did my work, and it honestly felt like I like did it so much faster. Like as a result, I don't know why, but like I had to change from doing 2 chapters a day of editing to doing 3 chapters a day of editing to make up for the fact that I'm not doing 2 days. And I thought it was going to be like this huge slog, but it was actually totally fine, and I finished in under an hour. So by the time it was like 9:45, I had already done all my work on my sequel for the day. And then I had other things to do. So I'm also reading my mentee's manuscript from Author Mentor Match. I was supposed to finish on Sunday, but then the same thing happened. I kind of got burned out because I hadn't been taking regular breaks. And then on the weekend, I didn't do any reading because I felt burned out. And I wanted to read when I was in the best space possible so that I can give my mentee the best critique possible. So I jumped right back into that today, and I've finished 25 of the 50 pages I have to read today. So now it's 12 o'clock, so I'm taking my lunch break. I'm catching you up on everything happening. And then in the afternoon, I'll read those last 25 pages, and then I'm done for the day. My Canadian publicist sent me this because I bought this book. I'm thinking of Ending Things, but then I thought I was getting this cover, but then they sent me the movie tie-in cover, which I absolutely hate, and my Canadian publicist saw it. She was so kind and she sent me this one, so I'm so excited, and I want to read this whole book today. So once I finish with my mentee stuff, then I can hop into this. So far, so good. We'll see how the rest of the week goes, and I will update you probably on Wednesday. Hello, again, it's the same day, it's not Wednesday, but I wanted to pop on here because I had the idea that during this writing vlog, while I'm experimenting with this 5-day work week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to track my time. So I'm going to make note of how I spend my time during each work day, so that at the end of this vlog, so at the very end, in the wrap up, I'll kind of break down what I did each day. So if you're a person who, on top of watching the writing vlog and enjoying it, is really curious about what I do each day as a full-time author, you'll get to see that at the very end. So that way, people who maybe aren't that interested in that, you can basically skip that. I'll put timestamps below so you'll know this is the writing vlog and this is the part where I talk about what I do each day, on top of kind of reviewing how the 5-day work week thing worked out for me. So it's part vlog, part experiment of my routine and insider look into it. So yeah, I'm gonna put that at the very end. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the timestamp and you can watch that at the very end of the vlog.
Melody, I just need to find my way. So when I fall behind, just give me one more day to regret the word I could never say. I'm drowning with the past, ocean of yesterday.
Hello, it is Wednesday, so it's the middle of, it's not really the, is it the middle of the week? It is the middle of the week. Oh my gosh. In the middle of this, kind of the middle of this experiment, because we're just going till Friday, but yeah, I have been doing this since Monday, and I really feel like this is it. This is really working for me so far. And I think what's working for me is that I feel like I'm getting so much more done. The productivity hoe in me is delighted because I have so much more time. Because the fact of the matter is that pretty much around 3 p.m., so much of my productivity drops. And before, because I wasn't waking up until 10, and by the time I got on my computer was 12, and then I'd be maybe I'll eat lunch now. And so then I was trying to push the whole day's work into 2 hours, and that wouldn't work, so then I'd have to work beyond that, and then I would be so tired. And I also have so much more time for reading. I've finished 2 books this week already, which in the last 2 weeks I think I've finished 2 books, and so yeah, I think it makes a big difference because I was so tired from working past my threshold by the time I was finished with my work day that then I didn't want to read because reading was such an additional burden, but now it's really great because I have so much energy to do other things and read. And it's also interesting because I'm tracking my time so that I can talk with you all about my schedule and stuff, but it's interesting for me as well to be tracking my time to see how much time I actually spend on these different tasks. because I don't really think about it otherwise. I just kind of guess at how much time I've spent on something. But I think in some ways, like some things, I'm like, oh, I actually spent a lot of time doing that. And I don't spend as much time doing X. So that's also really interesting. So yeah, it's cool to be in the middle of the week. It feels like this week is going faster somehow. Which is funny because I'm awake for more of the day, so you think it would feel slower, but it actually feels like it's going faster. But yeah, that's been great for the writing schedule. Like I said, I've been reading, so I read I'm Thinking of Ending Things by, I believe it's Ian Reid. My publisher sent that to me so I can have the cover I wanted. It feels so spoiled saying that, but I really appreciated it. Shout out to Athena, my Canadian publicist. So yeah, I read that and I really liked it. I would say trigger warning for suicidal ideation, to watch out for that, but I really liked it. I thought it was really good. It's like a suspenseful literary horror, adult as well. And I really liked it. It's just like got this great atmosphere and tone that is so insidious and creepy, and it just gets worse and worse as the book goes on. And there was some imagery that was just so visceral in how creepy it was. And I'm not a person who's like good at picturing things in my head, so when an image that someone describes in a book really impacts me like that, like I know it's just so strong. And so yeah, I totally like get the hype around the book. I really loved it. I thought it was really good. I'm really glad I read it. And yeah, I'm like, I'll have to like check out some of his other stuff, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to be watching the movie. I watched like a YouTube video where someone compared the book and the movie. I'll link it below in case you're interested in watching it. And like the movie seems like so off the rails, and I can enjoy reading literary, but like literary films, like, you know what I mean? Like art films, I find are like very hit and miss with me, and I have a tendency to end up being bored watching them than to like actually take things away from them. I think when I interact with movies, I'm really like watching to be entertained. I'm not really the sort of person that likes to watch like art films and be really, you know, critique it and like the style and all that sort of thing. Those sorts of things are kind of secondary to my entertainment, and so I think that's why I don't really enjoy those that much, versus like in books I feel very primed for literary criticism and like digging into that. So but yeah, I enjoyed that. Today I'm gonna be starting, I don't have the dust jacket on it, but I'm gonna be starting The Taking of Jake Livingston. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year. It's like surprisingly short also. I think it's only like 250 pages. I'm sorry to people with my giant books. I write giant books, but I love to read a short book. So I'm gonna be reading this today and I'm really excited about it. Friday, so we are at the end of the vlog. My hair, you know what it is. I just styled it. There's product in it. That's why it looks white. Nobody ever comments on this, so I don't know why I feel the need to constantly explain myself. But I always like worry that people are gonna think I just like have shit in my hair and I'm cool with it. Anyway, so today is the end of the vlog. It's the end of the week. It's the end of my 5-day 9 to 5 work week experiment that I've been doing throughout this vlog. So first I'm gonna talk about like do my little vlog wrap up and talk about how the process went for me, and then right after I will share some like screenshots of my time breakdown of the schedule if you're interested in like knowing that time breakdown and hearing me talk a little bit more specifically about that. But for the end of the vlog, so today was the day that I finished. So I finished my SQL edits for my last round of developmental edits. It's finished. I got everything done. I sent it off to my editor, and of course both my editor and agent are like out of office and on vacation. So I didn't like need to have it in, and it wasn't my deadline anyway, but I did want to get everything done before this Toronto trip. So I'm really glad that I finished that. I'm feeling much better. It wasn't last week. Last week I was kind of having those like sequel feels where I was starting to kind of doubt the sequel. But this week, like reading through to the end, I was like, no, I'm good with this. This is good. So that was really positive. I'm really happy to be done with those edits. Next up, I'm gonna be working on my book 4, my 2024 book. I'm going to be working on the proposal for that. I don't think I'm going to seriously work on it in Toronto. I'm going to like just, if I have free time and I want to work on it, I'll work on it. But I think I'm mostly going to be taking that week off. But then the next week after, I will be very seriously working on it to get it done by the end of that week. So yeah, this 5-day work week experiment to me was really, really positive. And I'm definitely going to continue doing this going forward. For one, it's nice knowing that like it's Friday and I'm done. So I don't have to worry about it on the weekend. I know I'm going to be taking the weekend off, so I'm not like jumping into something right away. And I'll basically be taking the next week off as well. So that's also nice. So that's really been nice, but also just like waking up at the time of day that I've been waking up now properly at 9, I just feel like I get so much done. And so like in the morning, I'm basically done everything. And then like in the afternoon, I'm just doing a small amount of tasks. And so my day feels less overloaded. I feel like I have so much more free time. And it's kind of funny because I thought I was doing the schedule I was doing before because I thought I wouldn't have more free time. I thought that compacting all my work into those 5 days would mean that I would have so much work and I would feel so overwhelmed, but actually it's really the opposite. So I'm definitely going to be continuing on with this schedule. Like I said before, I don't know if I'll always make the 2 days off the weekend. I think that's going to be the case for like the next week, but I don't know if that'll always be the case. So that's really nice. It's nice to have this schedule and feel like, oh, I have a system. And, you know, I know we don't want to be like, man, that 9-to-5 corporate slave life. But for one, I'm doing something I enjoy. And for two, my schedule is not that rigid. The wake up time and the start time is very rigid. But otherwise, things I think are quite a bit more loose, which is nice. But yeah, so I'm really happy with that. And next week, when I'm in Toronto, I will still be vlogging because I'm still doing the weekly vlogs. I think it'll just like, it'll be a little all over the place in terms of projects because I don't know what actual writing I will do or like what I'll work on or how that will be. It'll be a bit of a surprise to all of us next week. So that's basically it for the vlog portion. And now I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the schedule and like the nitty gritty of what I do in my day. So if you're interested for that, you can stay on for that. And if you just wanted the vlog and you were like, I don't care what you do in a day, you can scoot on out there. But I hope that you will like the video and subscribe. So yes, now we'll go straight on to the schedule. I've moved a little bit over to the side so I can put the images here. So over here, I will have the exact breakdown of my schedule per day. I'm just gonna talk more about it in general. And then you'll notice for Friday, I have like an estimated rest of day because it hasn't happened yet because it's Friday now. It's about it's basically 2 p.m. right now when I'm filming this. So obviously that time hasn't passed yet. And so that's why it's still ongoing and I estimated the rest of the day. But essentially, this is basically how my day breaks down. This is how my days have broken down over the week. I'm just going to talk more generally about it while these things flash up on screen. But right in the morning when I wake up, I work on basically my highest priority item. So for this week, that was working on my SQL edits. So that was my top priority. And that's why I worked on that first, when I have the most energy and like brain space. And I was surprised by how little time I needed to work on it. It felt like when I was doing those edits in the previous weeks, it felt like I was spending so much more time, but I guess I wasn't. But it's interesting to see when you time track it. I was also working on my author mentor match mentees books, so reading through, but also like doing critiques and making notes and that sort of thing. And so I found that that took me a lot longer because I wasn't just only reading, which I'm not like a super fast reader, but also I was having to think of comments and that sort of thing and put everything together. So oftentimes I ended up working on that longer than I actually ended up working on my SQL edits, which is understandable, also because these edits weren't super heavy edits. I do take my lunch at 12. I think it's really nice to like look forward to it, because then from 9 to 10, when I finish SQL edits, I would be like, oh, well, what do I do now? And because I knew I was going to take a break at 12, I would find some other work to do until 12 o'clock. So then I kind of made my morning more productive in that way, when I could have just kind of not done anything. And in the afternoon, I think, is where my schedule is the most flexible / off the rails, because if I don't have any work to do by the time it's after lunch, I basically just like continue having a break and doing whatever. I do try and read during the afternoon, so that's like a big-ish part of my afternoon. But sometimes I don't feel like reading. I think that was the case on Thursday. I didn't feel like reading, and so I basically just watched YouTube. I also sewed. Oh, I was sewing a pair of shorts on Thursday, so that's also why like so much of it is gone, because basically from like when I finished my SQL edits, I was like sewing nonstop until 7:30 p.m. with breaks only for event stuff. And so that's the other thing in the schedule that you'll notice is event things. This week was more packed than the average week. Usually I only have like 2 to 3 events happening in any given week. So it was like a lot more going on than average. And so some of those were meetings beforehand of events. So meetings with my publishing team or with event coordinators to talk about what was going to happen next, or to do tech checks to make sure that everything's going to go all right for the event. Some of them were the actual events that were happening. And so those are also parts of my schedule. And I usually arrange like my day around a lot of those, but it's really nice because the fact that I'm waking up now in the morning means that most of the time I've done work really early, and so it's not really any sort of big deal to organize my schedule around those events that are happening. And they're all virtual, so because COVID, and you know, I think some people are starting up in-person events, but yeah, mine are all virtual. So that's also another addition in there, and that's really like, those are the big parts of my schedule. There's some little things, admin things like answering emails. One I had to like draft, well, I didn't have to, but I was drafting like a thank you email, and so because I overthink things, I like had to take so much longer to figure out what I was going to say. But most of the time I'm answering emails like whenever they come, and it takes me like 2 seconds to do it. So I don't consider it like extra work, and I didn't really put it on the schedule because it takes me like less than a minute usually to reply. Usually it's my publicist being like, hey, do you want to do this event? And then I'm like, yeah, cool, sounds good. And then we organize the time, and then that's the end of it. So it's usually a pretty quick exchange. Sometimes I do have to update my website. I did have a little website update thing there, but yeah, overall my schedule is like pretty flexible in the afternoon. And I think a huge part of this was this schedule and waking up on time, because previously I wasn't doing that, and it felt like I didn't have enough time in the day to get work done. And I was wasting a lot more time in the day procrastinating instead of just like doing my work and being done with it. So that's why I'm really happy about this new schedule that I'm definitely going to be sticking to, because this is so much more helpful than what I was doing before. And it's nice to know that there are days every week that I'm not going to have to do something, versus kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to work on this nonstop for a month to take like 2 weeks off, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna move back in the center. So I hope you enjoyed the vlog. I hope that little schedule thing was maybe like helpful or interesting to you. If you have any questions about that, like how I break down my day and like scheduling author things, definitely feel free to ask those in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And for the whole month of July, even though I'm not doing Camp Nano, I will be doing weekly vlogs. So next week you can look forward to another vlog in which I will be like outside sometimes. I'll be in a different place. It's very exciting for me. I don't know if it's exciting for you. But yeah, so look forward to that. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!